So our frontier opening bell for the third market day in the first week of January 2024 is looking like this. Welcome everyone to the show. The Nigerian market added more than 800 billion naira in value on the second trading day of the week. That was Wednesday. And that's quite a hefty one because the index crossed a new threshold of 77,000. Then you've got the total index also much stronger, raking up roughly 4% in just the first two sessions of the new year. Billionaire industrialist Aliko Dangote's got his value up by roughly $311 million in just 2 days because the market was roaring hot into the new year. Got me wondering whether traders and investors actually went on a holiday to just run through the market through the end of the year, to Christmas, New Year holiday, and they're binging on stocks to start the new year, by the way. The BRVM also moved up roughly 1% yesterday in West Africa. The Ghana market remained flattish and under the radar. The Egyptian market bucked 2 days trend on Wednesday, down by 0.37%. That's a bit of a pullback. Today's the final trading day in Cairo for the week there. The NSE, 0.15% in the green. That's in Nairobi, while the GSE fell 1.58% for the second day, in line with the global developed and emerging markets, where we saw resources, the financials, as well as the industrial stocks down on the biggest exchange on the African continent. But let's take it on and check through what's making the headlines from East Africa region. Again, there's a whole lot about concerns how President Ruto's administration is handling the new Finance Act, the tax that folks in Kenya will be paying in the new year. There's a whole lot if you go online and check the social media and the news organizations out of Kenya reporting the country's economic direction for the new year 2024. In the meantime, some good news for banks because the central bank has lowered interbank FX trading limits to $100,000 and has opened up its new online electronic FX trading platform, which allows non-bank actors to also trade on the same platform. The whole idea is to re-engineer or sort of, motivate the market to trade more fairly the exchange value of the shillings against the US dollar and provide a further liquidity to ease constraints. Again, because the manufacturers in Kenya says they would resort to imports if the operational costs so high in 2023 remain that highly elevated in the new year. That was a profit warning. That was a warning shot fired at the government in Nairobi. The Treasury, however, in Kenya has ordered to draw rules for the Central Bank of Kenya's emergency borrowing as the administration in Nairobi tries to get its hand around a fiscal balance. And Marula Mining, which is listed on the London Stock Exchange, is considering secondary listing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. That's something that'll be good news for the Nairobi Stock Exchange. It will be warmly welcomed. Bring it on. Let us get Tanzania. Officially, the central bank reporting that it's dropped the quantity-based monetary policy focus to interest rate-based monetary policy. How this will work out, we'll examine that in the days ahead and get more clarity on the new direction that the central bank in Tanzania is looking to achieve. That's a BOT. And of course, we talked about the Kenya's manufacturers. They're giving a warning to the government on the cost of doing business in East Africa's biggest economy. Let's move on to West Africa. Checking with Nigeria, where I talked about the stock market roaring into the new year. 1.5 trillion naira in local currency was what the market added in just 2 days, 48 hours of saying a happy new year. In the meantime, President Tinubu's administration is burying its fangs on revenues. He's asking all government funded, if you're funded as an MDA 100%, then you've got to bring in your IGR, internally generated revenue, 100% into the coffers of the government. Is creating a new account for all inflows of government revenue. This is someone who understands the language of revenue. I call him, Mr. President, what you call a revenue evangelist president. Then let's talk about Seplat Energy, which is listed on Lagos and London stock exchanges, announcing that its annual gas plant, which is based in Imo State, southeast of the country, has completed its mechanical operation. The project is jointly owned by Seplat and NNPC, that's the State Oil Corporation. Boa Group ramps up last year its own value on the stock exchange owned by Ahmed Rabiu. 2.3 trillion naira was what the Boa conglomerate consisting of the cement and the Boa Foods on the market. And that's one good news because those stocks made very strong capital gains in the year we just finished. Move on to Ghana, where Ghanaians are now resorting to savings in foreign currency, dollar, euro, pound, whatever, anything that is foreign, with the exception of the Ghanaian cedi. And that's according to KPMG report because they're not seeing so much value going forward in putting their savings in the local unit. That sounds a little bit familiar to Nigeria's story over the last year or so. And the BRVM, that's the Cote d'Ivoire stock exchange for the region of French-speaking West Africa, suspended AVOC's packaging SIM Ivory Coast because of failure to meet listing compliance regulation. And that's your West Africa's briefing. Let's brief you a little bit about Southern Africa with news coming through this morning from the chief economist at Investec, which is one of the financial services company in South Africa, saying that the country's economy will grow to 1.0% this year. That's Africa's most advanced economy. Not been a very particularly fantastic time for South Africa, which saw the GSC just 1.6% on the upside last year. Now the economy is expected to grow just 1% this year, and that's according to the chief economist at Investec. The index at the GSC just reported about 1.8% in 2023, and of course that's just slightly around some of his peers if you consider the GSC as an emerging markets around the world. Gross debt rising in South Africa, that is forecast to be around 77% of the GDP in the 2025-2026 period. The elections coming through in April in South Africa is going to be a major deciding factor. In the meantime, President Ramaphosa, his deputy Mashatile, and the head of the Secretary General of the ANC says the country's load shedding via Eskom will end in the current year, 2024. They're talking up the economy and all that ahead of what is expected to be hotly contested general elections in the next few months. Zimbabwe is anticipating 17.4% electricity production in the current year, 2024, while Ariston Holdings, which is listed on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, swung into 33 billion Zimbabwean dollars loss last year because of losses the company made on foreign exchange transactions. Let's wrap it up in North Africa. Of course, the news, not so good news coming from Libya, are reporting that local residents are shut down the Shararas oil fields, which accounts for about 300,000 barrels of oil per day. That part of the news in all that moved up share oil prices yesterday, just around roughly 3% across the benchmarks of the London Brent and the US West Texas Intermediate. CI Capital, listed on the Egyptian Stock Exchange, says it's completed 5 bond issuances worth about 7.8 billion local pounds in 2023 December. And Egypt is targeting about $12 billion in FDI for its fiscal year 2023 into the current 24. GDP outlook for Egypt is bleak, and that's according to Capital Economics, and they just came in through on Tuesday. Then you've got Morocco's automotive exports, so 30% to $13 billion for 2023 full year reporting. Morocco is one of Africa's hotspots for European auto manufacturers. You've got Morocco, you've got South Africa, and you've got Egypt and a few others, followed by those top 3 destinations on the continent as far as automotive sector production is concerned. Those are your headlines this Thursday. We're kicking off the new week with just one more session to go, and that's tomorrow, Friday. It's going to be a TGIF. Let's see how that looks when we return to you in the next 24 hours. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. I am Boason Omofaye. Have a great day and see you soon.